Howdy, guys, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and welcome to night number 79 of the Big Brother Season 25 Overnight Feed Recaps. A good Friday to y'all. Here comes the weekend, but we had an important HOH competition to talk about first, so let's get right into it. Now, first of all, we had Corey evicted last night, unanimous vote. Can't say any of that was a surprise whatsoever. The episode tried to make it look like there was a flip of foot and all that. It was talked about, but it never really went anywhere. So Corey got sent home. I will say, watching that episode, the one thing that struck me more than anything else, jury management. We saw some goodbye messages. We saw one from America, which was nice and sweet, as you expect. Apparently, she said as part of her goodbye message, "I love you, Corey," and they cut that part out. Interesting, huh? But they had that. But the other two goodbye messages they showed were from Blue and Sari. Blue still kind of just rubbing it in Corey's face. From a jury management standpoint, probably not the best approach to take. Although if Blue gets to the very end, I'm not sure she gets Corey's vote no matter what. But she didn't seem to be doing much in the way of jury management. Sari kind of was saying, yeah, you deserve it for the showmance and all of that. She was a little more subtle. And I think Corey's the type of player, he's going to vote for the person that deserves it the most. He won't hold it against them what they said, but it did surprise me that they would say that to begin with. So we did have that. Now, a little thing before we get into the live feeds, as far as those goodbye messages, I've had people ask before about watching them. Sometimes they don't show everyone's comment goodbye like they didn't last night. What happens, at least in my case, when I was evicted, I got to see the goodbye messages right after I'd gotten through talking to Julie Chen on stage. They had a little DVD player. I got to see each goodbye message. I got to see it once, and that was it. But they did play it for me a little bit later, and so I'm sure the same thing happened to Corey also. So he got to see everyone's, just not everyone's on stage. All right, with all that being said, let's talk about what happened last night, because we do have a new HOH winner, and with that, all kinds of strategizing going on. Now, the feeds were down until 12:30 or so. 12:30 or so Houston time. So 10:30 Big Brother time while the HOH was held. And when the feeds returned, we learned that the new HOH is the same as the old HOH. Jag has won yet again. It sounds like a Who song. Beat the new boss, same as the old boss. Yep. We got it going on in the Big Brother house as well. Jag has won for a second week in a row. A lot of people talking about why in the world was he eligible to compete for a second HOH, and I don't know. It kind of surprises me as well that they allowed that to take place. I tell you what I think it was. I think maybe someone hadn't thought it all the way through. Someone asked the question about, does this person get to compete again? And they just threw out an answer, maybe production, without necessarily thinking it all the way through. Or perhaps not. It is what it is. The decision, I think, was made before HOH was won last week. So it is what it is. So Jag has won for a second week in a row. Now, it certainly helps him control the house a little bit longer, right? Every week that he or Matt doesn't win an HOH, they could be in trouble. So it certainly helps Jag in the short term. In the long term, boy, it just keeps making that target on his back bigger and bigger and bigger, right? At this point in time, why would anyone not go after Jag if they had the opportunity? You know who this really helps? Matt. Of all the people, Matt's safe this week. He's obviously not going anywhere. He's got the protection of Jag. But if anyone wants to come after the two of them, surely they're going to go after Jag before they go after Matt, right? Yeah, absolutely. So Jag is HOH again. Now we got to talk about who he may be putting up, but let's talk about the actual competition itself first. Now, obviously, we haven't seen it. I say obviously, it was not on the live feed, so we did not see it. It sounds like it was an individually timed competition, which makes it that much more reasonable that Jag maybe wouldn't have been allowed to compete because individual people competing every time. Jag could have gone down there, pretended like he was competing, and no one would have had to reveal that he was the HOH. But water under the bridge. Yeah, it was a individual timed competition. Sounds like it was some kind of memory competition. We saw little clip during the live episode of a dental chair, and they talked about scary Johnny Mac, the dentist or something. What turns out sounds like there were 3 separate rooms labeled maybe A, B, and C, and something involved the house guest having to run back and forth from one room to the other, trying to memorize as much as possible. It also somehow included the names, maybe the faces of older house guests, from previous seasons, house guests. And somehow they had to assemble something or answer questions. Not really sure what it was, but it was a memory competition and timed. There were people talking about counting the number of teeth and a cracked tooth and all that. So no. I also heard it was fun, but I also heard people talking about that it was a little hard as well. So at the end of it, that's what was going on. Jag won it. Now, apparently, Cirie came pretty close to winning it herself. That she came in second place is what was mentioned yesterday as well. So, yeah, she still hadn't won, but she's getting closer. All right, let's talk about the feeds themselves. We start off with Matt and America and Cirie all mentioning Big Brother players' former Big Brother players' names that they missed in the competition. Several said Josh, and so apparently old BB players somehow came into play with this thing. All right, we've got Matt and Cirie talking. Cirie is talking about running and trying so hard. And as I mentioned, apparently she came in second place, so she was fighting for this thing. Matt's complaining that he just wants one. He just wants one HOH victory. And Cirie's promising that it is coming. Is it not amazing that Matt and Felicia have the same number of victories in this game, right? Matt won that one power of safety. Felicia won one HOH. Unless I missed one, they're tied for number of comp wins. It does amaze me that Matt hasn't won more than he has. But yeah, he's saying, I just want to win one. He came so close. That was it Cameron, I think, that took it from him on that puzzle building one. But yeah, he's ready for that one. Cirie saying it'll come eventually. She is telling him that she is so happy that Jag won this week HOH, which maybe not so much. We know that she and Felicia are certainly getting nervous about Matt and Jag, would like to see them out the door. I think Cirie probably was safe this week from anyone in this house winning HOH except maybe for Bowie Jane. Bowie Jane may have gone after Cirie. I think anyone else, Cirie was going to be safe no matter what. Felicia, not quite so safe, but Cirie feeling pretty comfortable. But she's telling Matt she's happy that Jag won. She's actually glad that Jag won this thing. Felicia joins at one point, and Matt is telling her and Cirie, he's telling her that he's telling Felicia that she's getting a break from the block this week. She shouldn't be going up. He's saying that he thinks the nominations are going to be certainly America, and then either Bowie Jane or Blue on the block next to America. But Felicia, you should be good this week. Felicia's happy to hear that. All right, Felicia's also reminding Matt that Bowie Jane hadn't been on the block yet, and that Blue won't recover. If they put Blue on the block versus America, whether Blue is a pawn or not, Blue is not going to recover from that. She's going to be upset. And why would you do that instead of putting up Bowie Jane? So she's kind of calling out Matt and certainly recognizing that there's something a little funny that they're just so hesitant to put Bowie Jane up there. So Felicia, being the subtle person that she is just throwing that out there to Matt. Cirie is pointing out that this next week, with 7 people in a house, only 6 people will be competing for veto. There's one person that won't be competing for veto. And she says, if that turns out to be me, if I don't get to participate and everyone else does, then at that point, I'm just going to recognize that my chip does not exist because it'll never get drawn. It's in there. We check chips as well because Holly never got picked during our season. It was in there. It's just luck of the draw. But yeah, all but one person is going to be competing next week. So theoretically, you could still have a back door, but realistically, not a whole lot of chances of that taking place anymore because there's so few people left in the house. All right, Felicia is talking about, and she's not the only one, Felicia's thinking that next week has to be a double eviction. They're going to go from 7 to 5. She's right. Yeah, they've counted down the days. They know there's only 21 days left, that somehow, some week, they've got to get an extra person out, and you can't go any longer next week. So they're all aware that next week is almost certainly double eviction. So she's going to be studying all week long. to make sure she's got her dates, events, everything memorized, because she knows it'll be probably a quick question and answer. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's some little random something or other as well. During my season, it was what the bleep, where we had to answer what people had said at HOH eviction ceremonies. I won it. But that was ours. But she thinks it could be some kind of memory comp, so she's going to be practicing, studying all week long. All right, we've got Bowie and Jag talking to each other. Bowie's also talking about a double eviction next week. And Jag is saying, look, Bowie, you or Matt, one of y'all need to win this next one to protect me. I can't compete. Yeah, you can't win 3 in a row, Jag. If they allowed you to, you probably would. But he's saying one of y'all are going to need to win this thing to keep us all safe. Again, they're at the point, any week that one of these two doesn't win, they're probably going to be in trouble. All right, we've got Felicia talking to Sari. She's telling Sari that Blue is going to have her rear end hanging out in the HOH room all night long. That's just the way she operates. And yeah, she kind of does. Felicia's worried about how safe Bowie Jane needs to be, that they just keep not mentioning her name, not putting her on the block, that she's insulated, at least as far as Matt and Jag go, and that there's got to be something going on in terms of the relationship. You know, from the outside, we watch and it's so obvious. Internally, it's sometimes a little bit tougher to tell, but they are recognizing that Bowie Jane just doesn't seem to be a target for Matt and Jag at this point in time. Sari is saying that the most important thing for her and Felicia isn't who necessarily is going on the block, but the fact that the two of them don't go on the block. That's what they've got to worry about. Anything else is okay this week, as long as they don't go on the block themselves. Sari is saying that Bowie Jane, really, she should be going up this week. But if she doesn't, as long as it isn't the two of them that go up in her place, then she's okay with that. And she's warning Felicia, saying, don't be rustling feathers. If we're safe, just let it be, because otherwise we could find ourselves in bad situations. So whatever it is, as long as we're not on the block, just let it go this week. We'll see if Felicia does that or not. Both of them still are continue to be talking about how protected Bowie Jane seems to be throughout this conversation. All right, we've got Matt and Jag talking to themselves. Excuse me. Matt and Jag talking, saying, "Yeah, I wonder who Bowie Jane is going to sell out this week to protect herself." So they're a group of 3, but they obviously don't have a whole lot of faith in Bowie right now. And they say, hey, who's she got to throw under the bus in order to protect herself? Well, right after that, Bowie Jane comes in and is talking about America and Blue, or talking like they're old friends now, and that they're going to be besties soon. It's just a matter of time now that they're back together. Corey's out the door. They're going to be together, nice and tight, besties for the rest of the season. So yeah, she's kind of making sure that Matt and Jag recognize Blue and America as maybe being bigger targets than old Bowie Jane. All right, so she's mentioned that. Blue comes in a little bit later and is laughing, celebrating with them to some degree. And she said, I'll be HOH next week. Well, we'll see about that, Blue. All right, America's talking to Matt. She's telling him that she's glad she stayed. She hates that Corey went, but she's glad she stayed. But she doesn't want to just be the easy target for next week. And she realizes that's kind of how the house is leaning. And that she really would like to maybe figure out some way so that doesn't happen. And Matt's kind of just brushing her off, saying, I get it, but you probably need to go talk to Jag about that. He's the one making the decisions, not me. I don't have any blood on my hands. Go talk to Jag. So he's suggesting that she needs to talk to him about that. But America is promising, making a commitment to Matt that Matt repeats later. I think it's something he's thinking about. She says, look, I know I'm the easy choice, but I'm promising you right now, I'm promising Jag as well, if y'all don't put me on the block this week, I promise that I will not put y'all on the block next week. I got other targets, so we can make it work. So just protect me this week, and y'all are protected next week, which is a great idea, and it's certainly something to keep in mind. She hadn't won any HOHs yet, so that's something that you have to weigh against as well. But the promises have been made. We'll see if that carries any weight going forward. America is realizing that only 4 votes will be cast this week, which means that it only takes 2 votes to force a tie, and then the HOH would break a tie. So there's not a lot of votes a lot of people to be convinced or campaigned to, or is opinion swayed when it only takes 2 and an HOH to make a difference. So yeah, we're getting right down to the end of it. We've got Blue in America together. They're talking about, I don't know, weight loss, big bug bites, dating, etc. A lot of non-game talk. The key is that, yeah, they are talking. Bowie Jane pointed it out, and we do see them talking, and I do see a possibility of them starting to work closer together going forward. I guess the way Blue holds grudges, maybe this is just all for show, and she's not ever going to really work with America, but maybe so. It depends on what happens and how she feels about her relationship with Matt and Jag. That's the end of it right there, or the key to everything. But they are talking about that. Now, Blue had some interesting little conversations as part of this. She talks about that she once dated a guy whose last name was Barry. And she was laughing, saying if she had married him, her name would have been Blueberry. Yeah, yeah, that's pretty funny too. But she also mentions that she thought about it, that if she married one of Cerie's sons, that her name would then be Blue Fields. Is she throwing out some subtle hints there? Is she expecting a swaggy moment at the finale? Is she going to be upset if Jared doesn't show up and get down on a knee or something? I don't know. That's what she's hoping for, but the fact that she's throwing out on live feeds if I was to marry one of Cerie's sons, my name would be Blue Fields. I don't know. We'll see, but I did think that was kind of funny. All right, we've got Blue, and Blue saying that she didn't talk to Cerie that much in the early part of the season, early part of the game, and that she just can't really get there with her. And America saying, well, it's all right. You don't have to get along with everyone. And so Blue's kind of seems like maybe distancing herself a little bit from Cerie, at least while she's talking to America. So maybe trying to make America feel a little bit more comfortable. I just don't know if it's legit or not. But she does mention that about Cerie. Everyone's been talking about a spelling competition as a possible comp as part of this double eviction. I just don't see it. I think those tend to take a little bit longer than you typically get for a live episode, but they're all thinking it could be something where you've got 5 minutes to gather letters, spell out the longest word, and you win. We've certainly had those competitions in the past. I just don't know that from a live standpoint, it's going to be what they do, but they're convinced it could be that. So everyone is going over words, sharing words. I don't know why you share words with other people, but going over different words everywhere. At one point, Matt and Jag and Bowie and Cerie are all in the kitchen. They're reading all the food labels. They're looking for words on the back of labels that they could use as part of a spelling competition. If it's a spelling comp on Thursday, then they were right and I was wrong, but I just don't see it. All right, we've got Jag finally gets his HOH room. He gets his basket. He gets a letter from his parents. There's a picture in there of him, and I guess his parents have a cutout of him. I think he said they went to Germany or somewhere. Anyway, they had a cutout of Jag in there as well. And so they've got that. Felicia's excited because there's Lowry salts and some other food choices that she liked. At one point, she tells Jag, says, yeah, if you aren't going to use these face masks, yeah, let me know. So, yeah, they're excited for that. But everyone sees his HOH room. Eventually, Cerie and Felicia depart, and then others start to leave out as well. But he does have that. We've got Felicia and Cerie then downstairs a little bit later talking. Felicia's wondering what Jag's going to do with his nominations and saying, here's the deal. No matter what he does, he's going to hurt someone's feelings. We don't have enough people for that not to happen. So we'll see which way his loyalties truly are. She's wondering, would he really want Blue to stay another week, since they kind of been trying to get out the competition, and Blue maybe is a better competitor than some of the others. So wondering, would they really want to hold on to her or maybe send her out the door instead? They are saying that if Blue does go up, it's because they want her out. They don't think if Blue's nominated, it's because she's a pawn. They really expect if she's going up, it's because they want to send her out. And I think it's because they know how upset she's going to be if that happens. We saw what happened when Corey put her up as a pawn. Would Jag not Matt, would Jag put her up and risk that same kind of wrath? Well, they're realizing probably not. So if Blue goes up, probably means that she's the primary target. They are saying that Blue can't win veto, and the concern is that if Blue was to win veto, whether she's on the block or not, she would not go on the block with a veto, or she would pull herself off. And Cerie's concern is that they're protecting Bowie Jane for whatever reason. So if Blue is not available, Bowie Jane's not available, America's already on the block. Well, that kind of leaves Cerie and Felicia to go up on the block instead. So they do not want Blue winning veto this week because it could put their game at risk as well. Now, Felicia's disagreeing. Felicia's saying, no, I think they'd put up Bowie Jane. We could talk them into it if that's the only choice. They would not put one of us up if Bowie Jane's there as a choice. I just don't believe that. And Cerie saying, I'll bet you money on it that they will not put her up. They'll put one of us up instead. I think Cerie's probably right on this. All right, we've got Blue and Matt still in the HOH with Jag. Yeah, Blue's not leaving anytime soon, is she? But they're both up there talking to Jag. Blue mentions at one point, says, finally one of our own up in the HOH. And Matt's pointing out that, well, yeah, Jared won HOH before. You already spent a little time up here, right? But yeah, she mentions that. Jag's laughing about the idea that we've now got Cameron and Corey are going to be in a jury house together, that pretty soon you could have Cameron and Corey and America in a jury house together, and how funny, interesting that would be. So they're laughing about that a little bit. At one point, Blue gets called to the diary room, a very opportune moment for the diary room. I think production sometimes makes their diary room calls based on conversations they want to see that maybe aren't happening, because as soon as Blue gets called to the diary room and leaves, we've got Matt and Jag having a long strategy session that would not have happened while Blue was up there. And as Felicia pointed out, or Cerie pointed out, yeah, I think Blue would have stayed up there all night long otherwise. But she gets called to the diary room, so now we've got some strategy. Probably the biggest and most important part of the conversations throughout last night. The two of them are talking about what they're going to do. Jag is saying that he was really afraid that Blue was going to win that thing, and he's glad that didn't happen. Matt saying, well, you know what? I knew that Blue was going to be up here all night as soon as you won that thing. In fact, a little bit later, Jag tells Matt, says, hey, I really want you to stay up here in the HOH room, sleep in here with me, because otherwise Blue's going to be in here the whole time, and I don't want that. So please come up here and stay with me. Matt says, I never slept in the HOH bed before. And Jag says, well, neither have I. So, yeah, it's going to be new for both of them. As it turns out, Matt said, yeah, I kind of like to sleep on my own. So I think he went back over to the have-not room, and Jag had the HOH room to himself. But that was the talk. But they start talking. They start strategizing. Matt's telling Jag about America's promise not to put them up if they don't put her up. And Jag's thinking that, yeah, but I really think that Blue and America, are either one of them, they're both going to be going after us no matter what happens this week, no matter what we do. They're coming after us. That's just the way it is. But Jag is thinking that, or saying that he's going to have to put up America. He gets what she said and he appreciates it, but he says, I'm going to have to put her up, and I'm just going to tell her that she's not the target, but she's going to have to go up. And Matt's saying that if Blue wins a veto, then Felicia can go up in Blue's place. America has to go at that point in time. There's a lot of different scenarios being thrown out, so just hang on to all this conversation. We've got Jag wondering how he's possibly going to tell Blue that she's the pawn if he puts her on the block. And Matt's saying, look, Blue is going to be begging for Bowie Jane to be the renomination if a renom is required. She's not going to want to be up on this block at all. Jag is now saying that he's trying to decide between Blue and Felicia to sit next to America. America's gone on the block. It's just who goes up next to her. Is it going to be Blue? Is it going to be Felicia? You notice that Bowie Jane's name was not mentioned. No, of course not. But her name was brought up a little bit later. So yeah, he's wondering who has to sit up next to America. He is saying that everyone wants America out this week. But what do they do if America turns around and wins veto and is safe this week? Then who do they go after? They basically table that. Jag said, we'll decide that later. We can't deal with everything right now. Jag has decided he's going to tell America that as long as she doesn't tell anyone that she's not the target, that she's going to stay this week. In other words, as long as you keep your mouth shut, we're not going to send you out the door. But if you tell anyone that you're just a pawn, then you're heading out. We can't have that. You've got to stay silent if you're going to do it. That's his plan to tell America. He's going to tell her that everyone expects America to get put up this week, that if he doesn't put her up on the block, people are going to know that they're working together. So he has no choice. He has to put her on the block, but she just needs to realize she's a pawn as long as she can stay quiet about it. That's the plan. He's going to tell her that he wants her to win POV, though, and actually pull herself off. So he has an excuse for why she's not going home. And he says, I'll even tell her I'm going to throw the POV to her if I can, in order to gain a little bit more trust as well, to earn her trust a little bit. So that's the initial plan they've got. He's saying that if they want America on their side, it has to be America and Blue on the block together to start with, because otherwise, if Blue wins the veto and is not on the block, that at that point, America's going to want to try to convince Blue to use a veto on her. And as justification for doing that, he's afraid that America will tell Blue that Matt and Jag wanted to send Blue home, and that the two of them would then potentially start working together. Maybe Blue would use the veto. The two of them would work together to get Matt and Jag. So a lot of concern about these two potentially working together because they know that both of them very easily could be coming after Matt and Jag. Matt is pointing out that if Blue isn't on the block, and I guess that would be if America and Bowie or America and Felicia were on the block, that if Blue wasn't on the block and Blue won the veto, she could pull America off the block as well. The two of them could work together, and they would then force Jag to put up some combination of Felicia, Bowie, Jane, and Suri, which Jag does not want to do. So lots of dangers when you don't have many people left in the house. Jag is saying that if they send Blue out this week as their intended target, that maybe works better, because then everyone next week will be working together to send out America. Well, maybe not. You may have a bigger target on your back than you're thinking, Jag. But at least from their thinking, we get Blue out now, and then America still is the easy target. She's a shield for the following week. It's what their thinking is. All right, there's talk about telling Blue that Felicia has, I think Matt suggested this, saying, look, let's tell Blue that the Felicia's just been on the block too many times. We don't want to make her a pawn yet again next to America. And then tell Blue that if America was to win veto in a worst case scenario, then Bowie is going to be the renom and Bowie goes home. So Blue is safe no matter what. Yeah, Blue will appreciate that, right? Yeah, she won't have any issues whatsoever with that. But Matt throws that out there. They're talking about maybe telling this plan to Felicia, basically letting Felicia know that she's not going on the block, that it's Blue or America or Bowie Jane, as a way to build some trust with Felicia as well. So lots of scenarios being thrown out here. All right, Jag is saying that if Blue wins veto, that Bowie Jane has to go up as a renom. He doesn't want to put Felicia up. So he's saying Bowie Jane would have to go up as a renom, but I know she's going to freak out. They're worried about how Bowie Jane's going to respond, saying that last week when they even mentioned the possibility of her being a pawn, that she broke down and cried and all that. And they know it's going to be worse this week. So Jag's a little irritated. He says that she just needs to chill out. She needs to be a pawn. If that's what it's going to take, Bowie Jane needs to accept it and be a pawn and actually go on the block finally and just deal with it, that maybe she is going up just as a pawn. He's talking about the fact that if Bowie Jane had agreed to be a pawn last week, like they originally talked about, things would have been different, and they wouldn't have both Blue and America trying to I think he said murder them this week. So yeah, the original plan, I guess, was to put Bowie up instead of Blue, take away some of Blue's animosity, some of the ammunition that America had told Blue about, they're coming for you and all of that. All of that may have gone away if Bowie had been willing to be a pawn, but she wasn't, which, pawns go home sometimes. I understand why she doesn't want to do that. But Jack's saying if she had just agreed to it last week, we wouldn't necessarily be in the position we are now. We would have been on so much better terms with Blue. And he's saying, I really thought Bowie Jane trusted us more, that if we put her up as a pawn, she would have understood that she was just a pawn. But she's so upset, suggests that maybe she doesn't really trust us as much as we would like her to. And he's saying it probably didn't help any that Bowie Jane also got upset when she saw him talking to Felicia and Suri, when she saw him and Matt talking to Felicia and Suri, and that Bowie maybe is worried about those four maybe could have a final four that she's not a part of. So she's just not feeling great about her position in the house. And Jag is saying that we need to do what we can to reassure Bowie because she's feeling just incredibly paranoid right now about it. And he actually finishes off by telling Matt that maybe they need to go ahead and tell Bowie Jane that she is the real three. She is the final three with the two of them. Is that true or not? It could be. I think them or Cirie and Felicia, one or the other, they want to go with, and I'm not sure which one is leading the way right now. All right, we've got Jag is going to tell Felicia that she's not going on the block this week. She's going to be safe. This is going to make Felicia and Cirie both very happy. Matt's saying that Cirie had said that she wouldn't be mad if Blue goes out the door. So this gets back to Cirie saying, as long as it's not us, we're okay. So yeah, Matt's saying, she said, if Blue goes, it's not the end of the world for Cirie. And then Jag wants to handle this week so that Felicia trusts them. So in other words, doesn't want to put Felicia on the block, doesn't want her to get anywhere close to the block this week. In the end, as a bit of a summary, Jag, it sounds like after all this conversation, in the end, Jag's going to put Blue and America up on the block. He mentions, says one goes home no matter what, if that's the case, and it turns into a good week. He's saying, yeah, they both want to go after us. If we put the two of them on the block, one of them goes home. Half the people that want to go after us are removed. So it turns out to be a good week no matter what. He says Blue is the preferred target of the two of them. America's the backup. If Blue wins veto and is safe, well, then America still goes home. So sounds like Blue may be the one in trouble this week. We shall find out. But they're saying at least we've got one of these two won't be coming for us next week. And there you have it, guys. Lights out, 3 o'clock, 3:30 or so, Big Brother time. So it turned into a long night. But at the end of the day, it sounds like today we're going to get nominations of Blue and America. Blue may be thinking that she's just a pawn when in reality she won't be. We'll see. We got plenty of time between now and well, a little bit of time between now and nominations, a little more time between now and veto ceremony, veto competition. All right. It could be an interesting weekend. Guys, y'all have a fantastic weekend. I'll be back tomorrow to give you an update on nominations, let you know what's going on. Until then, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends.